Ah, body slam then, eh? Oh, hello, missus. Do you come here often? If you do, I'll go the other way. Yes, this is body slam. And let's see who I'm going to pick. So I'm going to pick the Evil Alliance. The Evil Alliance?
I don't. Hands. Are we the baddies?
So, yes, body slam. A.K.A. Dump Matsumoto, who was a Japanese, quite a hefty Joshi, which means like women's wrestler, who actually isn't fully retired yet and still makes the odd appearance, which is amazing when you consider this game came out 40 years ago, nearly. So, wow, good longevity and proof that if you're a big lass, life isn't beyond you in your later years. It changed its name when it came over to the US, and then changed again even more dramatically when it was ported to the Master System the same month, where it changed the roster to male wrestlers, as this was the era when boys would prefer not to have had that Teela figure and would much prefer that Ram Man figure, which they'd probably regret because the Ram Man figures were rubbish when they were shopping for their toys. Boys were very sexist back then, still are. My son is a bit of a sexist git and never picks the girl in a fighting game unless he has to. But then I'm no better because I choose it because like Cammy's got a nice butt. Yeah, so who's worse? Me with my experience or him? So yes, this is a RetroTech 120p challenge. This is a wrestling game by Sega. I severely recommend, if you are not familiar with wrestling games, or like just this game in general, practice this one, because it will hand you your butt if you go in not knowing how to play it first off. If I can give you any tips, it's that you should tag very often, and when your energy bar starts to go, it sort of heals up a little bit as you go on as well. And once you get an advantage, press that advantage. Keep picking them up by the hair, slamming them back down again. It plays a bit like a very sort of Aldi version of WWF Superstars. One of my favourite games, but I can't get to grips with this as much as that. Anthony Raven Gaming has got a bit further than me than this, and I think it's possible if you get the hang of it. I reckon you could finish this game, but I don't quite get that far. So yeah, it's going to be difficult. I can see some people, if you don't practice, like having videos that last about a minute. So definitely give it at least about half an hour's worth of practice. Love the names in it. I think they're all based on real wrestlers, and I'm sort of thinking about doing like a proper video on this, even though I don't really like it, in my weird wrestling license thing, because there's some very funny names like Chest Freezer, which is a great name. So RetroTech 120p challenge. If you don't know what I'm doing, basically I've got 2 credits. I can have as many practice goes as I want, and this time I did have some practice goes. Hey, bank holiday, why not? And once you're feeling confident enough that you're not going to shame yourself utterly, you press record, and then you either edit or don't edit your video and upload it onto YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, wherever you like. Put a link on the Facebook group, and please do join in. It is good fun, and you'd like seeing some fresh faces about. Quite rare this, in the fact that it's a game that features only women for the time. Obviously it's based on the Japanese Joshi wrestling scene, but for an early game it's pretty unusual, isn't it, that? But yeah, it's some curious wrestlers. The people I'm fighting at the moment appear to be Claire Balding and Lorraine Kelly. Whereas mine are indescribable, but the girl I'm currently controlling, her roots are showing a bit, aren't they? Might come back to this in a proper edited video, talking about Dump Matsumoto at a later date. But we should probably get to the genital facts, because genital facts are where it's at. I could do loads of if another wrestling game comes up, I could do like sex facts based on wrestlers for donkeys, for ages. But I've decided to, because testosterone packed men who spend their day walking around in pants, highly sexed, unsurprisingly. But I've chosen to go with 3 different sort of facts based around wrestling porn stars. The first two of which, unwitting porn stars. So let's talk about Hulk Hogan's sex tape. This earned old Hulk a fair bit of money as he sued a celebrity gossip site for $135 million in a rather landmark case, and actually got that money after his former friend Bubba the Love Sponge, he was like a radio DJ I think, sold Gawker Media footage of Hogan thrusting away at his wife Heather. Now that's Heather's wife being Bubba's wife, not Hogan's wife. Hogan was married to Linda Hogan at the time. Probably caused him a fair bit of trouble in their marriage. Bubba obviously looking out to make a quick buck, so he arranged a quick buck from a quick. So he arranged for the tape to end up in the wrong hands, as it were, and may have entrapped his friend a bit. Nice fella. But Hogan, a distinctive character at the best of times for his look and his tall tales, is even more distinctive as he apparently doesn't tan his wrinkly bottom, and well, it's quite the sight. Heather has had the benefit of a fair amount of surgery and nip and tuck, so it looks like your granddad's going at it and going through a midlife crisis by buying and then humping one of those real dolls. 135 million though. It's worth that sort of embarrassment online, isn't it? Crikey. Give me a real doll and a cheque for that, and I'll make it my next upload. I think that's a fair assumption of my morals, a lack of. So another victim of sex tape leakage is dear old Paige from WWE, otherwise known these days as Saraya, which is her real name actually, in AEW. British-born Saraya Knight, the subject of the movie Wrestling with My Family, alright, was dating fellow wrestling star Brad Maddox at the time, and they had the sort of sexually liberated lifestyle that people physically attractive, young and carefree enough can get away with. And they taped a lot of their exploits, but unfortunately those exploits got leaked in sort of the late 2010s, and it featured them and another wrestler called Xavier Woods. Various bits of footage involving 1, 2, or all 3 of them. Brad Maddox wasn't in a relationship and had left the company, I think, when the footage got released, but the other 2 were involved. And to be fair, the WWE was very supportive of Paige, because obviously it must have been horrendous for her. And you know what, she's been through some stuff, but she's come out of it the other side. She had to retire from a career-ending injury, but she's come back from that, and in fact, as of last night when this was recorded, she won the AEW Women's Championship in front of the biggest crowd in wrestling, well, the biggest paid crowd in wrestling history at Wembley. So, right in front of her own fans. That's really cool, isn't it? Some other wrestlers who got into sex work willingly, you've got Mandy Rose, who's coining it in currently from a subscription-based service where she gets her puppies out. Buff Bagwell from the 90s WCW became a $3,000 a night male escort for a little while. ECW legend Bubba Ray Dudley has directed a porn movie. 2000 era divas Mickie James and Candice Michelle both posed for nudes before they stepped into the ring. X-Pac and the late China from DX made a porn film together, and China in fact sort of went on a sort of a dark path and ended up doing a porno dress sort of as She-Hulk. Yeah. Fake vampire Gangrel has got 12 directional notches under his porn belt. And then you get to the sad tale of Tammy Stitch, who you might know as Sunny. She was once the most searched for woman on the internet in the sort of mid to late 90s, before Britney probably. But her life spiralled out of control. OnlyFans and working for a porn company on a couple of films, perfectly legitimate ways to make use of your profile and coin it in. But then her drug and alcohol addictions have now seen her facing a very, very lengthy jail sentence after causing death in a DUI incident. So a sad tale to end it on. But yeah, that was the wrestling porn stars, as was. But as I say, if we ever do another wrestling game, I've got plenty more to go from, because, as I say, these are horny dudes. Horny dudes. So, yes, to finish, what have we got coming up this week? Good question. Well, upcoming, we've got one of the worst games I've ever played on the channel, based on Automan. And then coming up, we've got like a Spider-Man, the animated series, on the Super Nintendo and Mega Drive. And we've then got Skips game, an action biker on the Commodore 64. Good. ZX Spectrum, not so good. And after that, Eddie Kidd, a game based on Eddie Kidd. So plenty coming up on the channel. Please stay tuned for that. As I say, have a look at some of the other games being played. Not other games being played. Other people's videos on this. You'll find the link on the Facebook group, because there'll be some very decent runs on there. I think Harold will put in a really good one. I can see Mark doing a good one, and as I say, Anthony at Raven Gavin loves his Raven Gavin loves his wrestling games, and he'll put in a very good run indeed. So worth having a look at them. Join in yourself. Thanks for listening to me witter on this quite difficult wrestling game. Why not mention it very often? But thanks for joining me, and I will see you again for other exploits, undoubtedly. But thanks for joining me, and Kay, thanks, bye.